The Super Bowl is where legends are made. But here's the thing that nobody wants to talk about. It's also where legends fall apart. I mean, we've all seen it. A quarterback with the gold jacket in Canton who somehow turned into a deer in headlights when the confetti was supposed to fall. And on the other side of that same coin is the journeymen that shine their brightest under the bright lights. Meanwhile, some fifth-round pick nobody had ever heard of is running around with the Super Bowl MVP trophy. So today, we're looking at 5 Hall of Famers who absolutely choked on the biggest stage and 5 journeymen who rose up and became unlikely heroes. So, let's get right into it. Hall of Famer Peyton Manning, Super Bowl 48. Let's start with the most humiliating Super Bowl performance by an all-time great quarterback. February 2014, Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos had just finished the greatest offensive season in NFL history. We're talking 606 points scored, and Manning himself was just a monster. He threw for 5,477 yards and 55 touchdowns, both NFL records. This offense was averaging nearly 38 points per game. And then they played the Seattle Seahawks. The very first snap of the game, before anyone had even settled into their seats, center Manny Ramirez launched the ball over Manning's head while he was calling an audible. No Sean Marino fell on it in the end zone. Safety. Seattle led 2-0, 12 seconds into the game. That is the fastest score in Super Bowl history. And somehow, it only got worse from there. The Seahawks led 15-0 before Denver recorded a single first down, and 36-0 before the Broncos got on the scoreboard. Manning finished 34 for 49 for 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a fumble lost en route to a 43-8 loss. Ouch. The 5-time MVP, the greatest regular season quarterback maybe ever, got absolutely embarrassed on the biggest stage. Journeyman Timmy Smith, Super Bowl 22. Now, here's the exact opposite of that spectrum. Timmy Smith was a 5th-round pick out of Texas Tech who had rushed for exactly 126 yards during the entire 1987 regular season. He wasn't even a starter. George Rogers and Kelvin Bryant were ahead of him on the depth chart. But then head coach Joe Gibbs made one of the most insane decisions in Super Bowl history. Right before kickoff against the Denver Broncos, Gibbs told quarterback Doug Williams to deliver the news to Smith. He was starting. Smith was so nervous, he forgot all his plays walking onto the field. Williams had to calm him down in the huddle. What happened next? Smith ran for 204 yards and 2 touchdowns on just 22 carries. Fun fact, that is still a Super Bowl record. Nobody has ever rushed for more yards in the big game. Not Emmitt Smith, not Terrell Davis, not anyone. His 58-yard touchdown run in the second quarter helped spark Washington's 35-point explosion in that period alone. Final score, Washington 42, Denver 10. Then, Smith held out the next offseason, demanding to be the highest-paid running back in the league. He showed up to camp 25 pounds overweight, lost his starting job after 8 games, and was out of the NFL by 1990 with just 602 career rushing yards. The ultimate one-hit wonder. But man, what a hit it was. Hall of Famer Fran Tarkenton, Super Bowls 8, 9, and 11. Fran Tarkenton revolutionized the quarterback position. The Scrambler ran for 3,674 yards, the most by a quarterback until Randall Cunningham came along. He retired holding every major passing record, 9 Pro Bowls, 1975 NFL MVP. But he also went 0-3 in Super Bowls with some of the ugliest quarterback performances that you'll ever see. In Super Bowl 8 against the Dolphins, 18 for 28, 182 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, lost 24-7. Super Bowl 9 against the Steelers, 11 for 26, 102 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, lost 16-6. Super Bowl 11 against the Raiders, 17 for 35, 205 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, lost 32-14. Combined across all 3 Super Bowls, a 43.7 passer rating. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. Tarkenton was electric in the regular season, but when January rolled around against truly elite defenses, he just looked completely lost. 3 chances at a championship, 3 embarrassing defeats. Journeyman Max McGee, Super Bowl 1. This might be the greatest underdog story in Super Bowl history, and it involves a hungover 34-year-old backup who didn't even bring his helmet to the game. Max McGee had only caught 4 passes all season for the Green Bay Packers in 1966. 4. He knew he was not going to play in the first ever Super Bowl. So, the night before the game against Kansas City, he snuck out of the team hotel and partied with 2 flight attendants until 6:30 in the morning. When he passed Bart Starr in the lobby on his way back to his room, McGee reportedly said, "I hope Boyd doesn't get hurt today. I am not in very good shape." Well, as luck would have it, Boyd Dowler got hurt on the 3rd play of the game. McGee had to borrow a teammate's helmet because he had left his in the locker room. Then he went out and made a one-handed grab on a pass behind him from Starr, took off past Fred the Hammer Williamson, and ran 37 yards for the first touchdown in Super Bowl history. By the end of the game, McGee had 7 catches for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Packers won 35-10. To this day, only Jerry Rice and Ricky Sanders have matched McGee's feat of 130-plus receiving yards and 2 touchdowns in a Super Bowl. And McGee did it while hungover, with no sleep, as a backup who wasn't even supposed to play a single snap. Hall of Famer Jim Kelly, Super Bowls 25, 26, 27, and 28. Jim Kelly led the Buffalo Bills to 4 consecutive Super Bowls. That is an incredible achievement that'll probably never be matched. He also lost all 4 of them. His combined Super Bowl stats: 81 for 145, 829 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That is a 56.9 passer rating across 4 games. Super Bowl 25 against the Giants is remembered for Scott Norwood's missed field goal, but Kelly threw for just 212 yards. In Super Bowl 26 against Washington, he threw 4 interceptions in a 37-24 loss. Super Bowl 27 against Dallas, Kelly got knocked out of the game with a knee injury. But before that, he was picked off twice in a 52-17 humiliation. The next year in Super Bowl 28, another loss to Dallas, 30-13. Look, Kelly was a warrior. He battled through injuries, led one of the most exciting offenses in NFL history with the no-huddle K-gun, and made the Pro Bowl 5 times. But 4 chances to win a championship, and the man came up short every single time. Journeyman Larry Brown, Super Bowl 30. Larry Brown was a 12th round pick in 1991, the 320th player selected. He was considered the weak link in the Dallas Cowboys secondary throughout the dynasty years. And then, miraculously, Neil O'Donnell gave him a Super Bowl MVP. In Super Bowl 30 against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Brown intercepted 2 passes that were so poorly thrown, conspiracy theories exist to this day about whether O'Donnell did it on purpose. Both picks led directly to Cowboys touchdowns. The first interception came in the 3rd quarter, with Dallas clinging to a 13-7 lead. Brown picked off O'Donnell at the Dallas 38 and returned it 44 yards to Pittsburgh's 18. Emmitt Smith punched it in 2 plays later. The second interception came in the 4th quarter. Same exact result. Another Cowboys touchdown. Final score, Dallas 27, Pittsburgh 17. Larry Brown had just 2 tackles in the game, but walked away with the MVP trophy and a 5-year, $12.5 million contract from the Oakland Raiders, which, in case anyone was wondering, is frequently ranked among the worst free agent signings in NFL history. Yeah, you see, Brown made just 22 tackles in 1996. He was then suspended in 1997, and was out of Oakland by 1998. He is one of only 3 Cowboys Super Bowl MVPs that is not in the Hall of Fame. But hey, for one night, he was the most valuable player in the biggest game on earth. Hall of Famer John Elway, Super Bowls 21, 22, and 24. Before John Elway became a 2-time Super Bowl champion, he was the poster boy for big game failure. 3 Super Bowl appearances in the late 1980s, 3 absolute beatdowns. Super Bowl 21 against the Giants. The Broncos led 10-7 and had 1st and goal at the 1-yard line in the 2nd quarter. They came away with nothing after missing a field goal. New York scored 30 unanswered points and won 39-20. Super Bowl 22 against Washington. Elway threw a 56-yard touchdown on Denver's first offensive play. It looked like a shootout, and Washington scored 35 points in the 2nd quarter. Still a Super Bowl record, by the way, and won 42-10. Elway finished with 3 interceptions. As for his 3rd in that era, Super Bowl 24 against the 49ers, honestly, this one is just cruel. It's borderline abuse. Elway completed just 10 of 26 passes for 108 yards with 2 interceptions, and the 49ers won by over 40 points. Combined in those 3 losses, Elway went 46 for 101 with 2 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Elway eventually got his redemption with back-to-back wins in Super Bowls 32 and 33, capping his career with an MVP performance. But those first 3 trips to the big game, oh man, just pure nightmare fuel. Journeyman David Tyree, Super Bowl 42. David Tyree was a special teams guy. In the entire 2007 regular season, he caught 4 passes for 35 yards. That's it. His teammates said that he had one of the worst weeks of practice leading up to the Super Bowl that anyone had ever seen. Then he made the greatest catch in Super Bowl history against one of the greatest teams the league had ever seen. The New York Giants were trailing the undefeated New England Patriots 14-10 with a minute 15 left in the game. 3rd and 5 from their own 44-yard line. Eli Manning takes the snap, gets swarmed by 3 defenders, somehow escapes, rolls right, and heaves a prayer downfield. Tyree goes up for it with Rodney Harrison draped all over him and pins the ball against his helmet as he falls backward to the turf. The helmet catch. NFL Films ranks this as the #1 play in Super Bowl history. It kept the drive alive, and 4 plays later, Manning hit Plaxico Burress for the game-winning touchdown. Tyree's helmet is now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. What makes this even more insane is that the guy never caught another pass in an NFL game. His final career stats: 54 receptions, 650 yards, 4 touchdowns. But that one catch, that one moment, it denied the Patriots a perfect 19-0 season and gave the Giants one of the greatest upsets in sports history. Hall of Famer Dan Marino, Super Bowl 19. Dan Marino is widely considered the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl. And the coolest part, he made it there in just his 2nd season. The 1984 Dolphins were a juggernaut. Marino threw for 5,084 yards and 48 touchdowns, both NFL records at the time. He won the MVP at age 23. The Dolphins went 14-2 and steamrolled through the playoffs. Then they ran into Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers. Super Bowl 19 was billed as the battle of the century, Marino versus Joe Montana. This was supposed to be a shootout. Instead, the 49ers defense sacked Marino 4 times, intercepted him twice, and held Miami to just 25 rushing yards on 9 attempts. Still, the fewest rush attempts in Super Bowl history. Montana threw for 331 yards and 3 touchdowns. Marino threw for 318 yards, but only 1 touchdown and 2 picks. Final score, 49ers 38, Dolphins 16. Yep, that was it. That was Marino's only Super Bowl appearance in 17 seasons. He would go on to make the AFC Championship game twice more and end up losing both times. The greatest arm talent of his generation, 420 career touchdown passes, and just 1 trip to the big game, where the poor guy got absolutely dominated. Journeyman Nick Foles, Super Bowl 52. This is the guy who almost became a high school pastor instead of a Super Bowl MVP. Just saying. Nick Foles was a 3rd-round pick who had one of the most bizarre careers in NFL history. In 2013, he threw 27 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, an NFL record ratio. He made the Pro Bowl, tied an NFL record with 7 touchdown passes in a single game against Oakland, and the Eagles thought that they had their franchise guy. 2 years later, he was benched in St. Louis, watching Case Keenum take his job. So, when the Rams drafted Jared Goff 1st overall in 2016, Foles requested his release. He was 27 years old, bouncing around the league, and seriously considering walking away from football entirely. He enrolled in seminary classes at Liberty University. His plan was just to become a pastor. Things changed very quick, however. See, Andy Reid reached out and Foles signed a $1.75 million backup deal with the Chiefs. 2017, the Eagles brought him back as Carson Wentz's insurance policy. Wentz was having an MVP caliber season. Philadelphia was 11-2. Nobody expected to need Nick Foles. That was until Wentz tore his ACL and everyone promptly wrote the Eagles off. But you know, Foles did not care. In Super Bowl 52, he went 28 for 43 for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the moment that turned him into a Philadelphia legend came on 4th and goal right before halftime. Doug Peterson called Philly special. Foles lined up under center, shifted out wide, and caught a 1-yard touchdown pass from tight end Trey Burton. When all was said and done, he outdueled the greatest quarterback of all time and became the first guy to throw and catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Not too bad for a journeyman. But hey, which NFL Hall of Famer do you think most blew it in a big moment? Which journeyman rose to the occasion most? Who do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we're wrong about? Is there anyone notable that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then hey, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.